Welcome to another episode of I Wonder, Doctor.
Let's talk about some short-range solutions to heartburn.
You're talking about putting out the fire.
Yeah. And before I go into the list of these wonderful items that can really help you, I'd like to say that each individual is going to have to pick and choose. I mean, just because I put it on the list doesn't mean it's going to be your number one go-to.
Yeah.
So
Some work for some people, some others work for others.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So top of the list, it's a household item called sodium bicarbonate, otherwise known as baking soda. That neutralizes acid. And you put a quarter or a half teaspoon in a half glass of warm water, and you stir it up and you sip it down, let it trickle down. And you can do that about every 15 minutes for a little while to see if that doesn't quiet it down. If it doesn't quiet it down in 4 of those glasses, you better move on to another method. Now there's another version of that. It's called calcium carbonate. And it's a commercial product found everywhere. Rhymes with mums or Golades. This one a lot of people find effective. And my favorite way that this comes is not in those particular brands, but in a brand that has much less of the extras in it, much less of the sweeteners and other chemicals in that. And that you can find online. Just look for calcium carbonate, and it's got a few things in it. And the baking soda, be sure you get aluminum free. And then one of my favorites is called DGL. If you look it up, that's how you'll find it. It actually stands for deglycyrrhizated licorice root extract. If you do not deglycyrrhizinate it, that can raise the blood pressure. It acts like an adrenal hormone in a lot of people. So you want to get the DGL, deglycyrrhizinated version of it. Come in wafers, you chew them, let it trickle down. Once again, you can take 1 or 2 or 3, and you can take that several times a day. This isn't necessarily an acid neutralizer. This actually helps the lining heal. So for those who are having acute heartburn, I'd say take 4 or 6 of those a day, spread out throughout the day. And then you can taper down on the amount you take as you start feeling better. But carry on with it, even beyond a little bit when the pain goes away. In the Southwest, those who live there are very familiar with a cactus called aloe. And if you slit open a leaf, you see this beautiful gel, and this has been made into some drinks. And get some pure Aloe Vera drink, because that's wonderful for putting out burns, putting out the fire. And again, it's not going to work in all people, but when it works for you, it's wonderful stuff. And it's good for other parts of the intestine as well. And then a lot of people get benefit from sipping on ginger tea. My preference is to take a tip of the finger size piece of fresh ginger, take off the skin, boil it. You'll produce a tasty little tea, and that helps some people. Then for more the long term, as far as supplements go, vitamin A can help the cells on the surface of a hurt esophagus heal, and no more than 25,000 units a day for the long run, eventually taper down to about 10,000 units. That's not going to act immediately, but take it for a month or 2. Some extra vitamin A, it'll do you good anyway. And then also zinc, and 5 to 10 milligrams is a very safe dose for people, and you can find these in a lot of places. And then I want to give you my favorite thing of all. Not that you don't want to do these other things, but it's called raising the head of your bed 6 inches. So you put that bed on a slant, and 4 stacked 2x4s will do it. Short 2x4s stacked, they're 1.5 inches thick. 4 of them make 6 inches.
Why not just put a bunch of pillows under my back? Why not just raise myself up?
Well, that can work, but when you picture that, you're going to be bent at the waist because you're going to be sitting up in bed basically. That puts extra pressure on the abdomen, especially if you've got some extra weight there. Just does not work as well. Does it work for some people? Yeah, it does. Couple that with sitting up in bed, couple that with one of these acid neutralizers, and you've got a recipe that'll work for some people. But the favorite, and for the long run, when you got a month that you want to really take care of yourself, elevate that head of that bed. I've done it for relatives of mine. It's a very effective technique. It takes a little bit of getting used to fall asleep, but you feel so much better with gravity pulling down and keeping the hydrochloric acid low where you want it in the stomach, that it's very well worth this one. You know, of course, everyone's heard of these acid-blocking medications. They're now over the counter. That's a little bit scary for me as a doctor. When these first came on the market, there was a lot of warnings about them. Don't take them for the long run. But people are taking them for the long run.
Because after all, we need those stomach acids. We're producing them for a reason. If we keep tamping them down forever, we're cutting off part of our digestive process.
That's right.
Yeah.
And as we explain in other videos, that leaves you vulnerable for infections to take place in the normally sterile stomach because the acidity is so high in there, nothing can live in there.
Yeah.
So you get vulnerable to infections or recurring infections there. And then also, like you were hinting at, you don't have enough hydrochloric acid, you're not going to digest your protein, your minerals, and your vitamin B12. This is highly consequential. What you'll see over a long period of time is deterioration of the skin, the hair, the nails. These things are made out of all the nutrients that I mentioned, and it'll even go deeper than that. You don't get enough minerals in there, you're going to dissolve your bones. You're going to get something called osteoporosis. We're going to address that particular issue. But the moral of the story is, do not take these acid blockers for over a month. Now, having said that, there are some people who need to take them for 6 weeks or even 2 months, but that would be the outer limit to me. Now, when you address it with the long-term measures that we're going to mention in another video, that's really what you want to do. You can use those acid blockers if you need them to provide you some relief so you can do the other things that were part of the cause of how you got there in the first place.
It buys you time to start the healing process so that you don't play a game of whack-a-mole of just get better but then get another attack and have to do it over and over and over again. You've got to start the long-term healing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then a warning against trying to use these acid blockers so that you can attend a barbecue with some hot sauce on top of it. Bad strategy. It makes my hair stand on end when I see this kind of approach to things advertised. No, we want to wean ourselves off of these acid blockers and certainly not add something that's harsh or spicy or hot to an already inflamed or vulnerable to becoming inflamed again lower esophagus.
Maybe in the future. Right?
Yeah,
you can
return to barbecue in the future. You do a good job of healing the various factors that went into this, absolutely.
Yeah, but now, cut it out.
Exactly.